can here with CrossFit Garage, where intensity is king and routine is your enemy, and we're still on main site for the next maybe 3 weeks. And here are your workouts. I will scroll through them, and then you can stop and look at them. And for those who want more information on each workout, you can obviously go to main site and pull up a lot of their cool videos and tutorials, and those are really neat. We also have an additional workout that is not in the normal lineup because it is 9/11. We're doing the 9/11 Remembrance WOD, and so you'll see that for September 11th. Okay, so the first one coming up, if you've never done Fran, then do Fran. If you can do it RX, even if it takes a long time, do it just because it's a great named workout. If you're like me and you've busted your hands up pretty bad from trying to do some gymnastics, the bar muscle ups or muscle ups, then don't do that and just do maybe like this alternate Fran where either you're doing jumping pull-ups or burpees to get off your hands. So the ideal Fran, well, let me just give you to it in the story like this. When I first started CrossFit many moons ago, like I don't know, like 2007, my first Fran took me I think 21 minutes. And it wasn't because I couldn't do the thrusters, which I probably were doing poorly. I just couldn't do the pull-ups. So I would do one pull-up and wait and look at the bar. I don't know if I'd suggest maybe waiting as long as I did to get it done, but I wanted to see what my number would be. So the cool thing is I did it. It took me 21 minutes. The last time I did it for real and like put all my gusto into it, it took me 2 minutes and 33 seconds. That's what we're talking about with CrossFit. You learn a skill because I couldn't do pull-ups, but now I can. And I learned to do butterfly, and then I learned to dig deep and just bite the suck and say, whatever, I'll do it, even though I wanted to throw up on the floor. So the funny thing is, I did this in 2 minutes and 33 seconds, and then I laid on the floor for the next 2 or 3 classes, and people would just walk by and go, hey, you're okay? And I just give them a thumbs up, and I was not okay. I was a pool of mess on the floor. So I wouldn't probably ever do that again. That's way too much, too intense, trying to get a number for Fran, which is a named workout. And so people will always ask, hey, what's your Fran time? And that's where it's coming from. This workout, Fran, which is named after a hurricane. Anyway, you could do a Fran alternate, which would be a light thruster with jumping pull-ups. Or you could do another alternate, which would be light thrusters with burpees. Or if you wanted to, I'll probably do regular weight with burpees because my hands are just jacked. You can also do the Fran complex, which adds in more complexity. So I don't think I will ever do Fran for a speedy time again just because of what it did to me. There's more story to it, but you can ask if we're in class together. It involves me almost passing out or actually passing out at a stoplight and almost getting hit. Anyway, so the Fran complex is pretty cool. So the Fran complex, bar muscle ups, chest to bar pull ups, chin over bar. So you're doing a certain set of those, 5 of each for a 3 set. Then your thrusters, and the same thing, thrusters, same thing, thrusters. So it mixes it up. And then RX Plus, a little bit more tough. But there's lots of opportunity for change to right size the workout. Being able to click RX isn't really important. What is important is you challenging yourself to go as hard as you can. A fast workout. That's what this should be. You should be able to do this in about 5 minutes and then fall on the floor and go, I am done. I don't want to do anything else. I'm going to lay here. I'm going to roll out. I may throw up. That is that type of workout. If it's going to take you 20 minutes, well, that's not that type of workout, but it's a Fran score. At least you'll know your number, and you can come back a year from now or whenever we do it, and you can say, this is how much I've improved, which is also fun CrossFit. We use real data to say where we are. So right size the movements and the weights and the gymnastic skill component for you. Also down here, I have something that I used to put in here. Josh and I are adding this back, which is a reference. So when you do your thrusters, let's say you do all your thrusters in sets of, 3. Then you could do like 19 sets of 3, and you did that weight. So that what it'll do is Wodify will use this new thruster number and the rep scheme you put in to create a 1 rep max for you, so you can do percent lifts when those come up. Okay, so next workout. 9/11 Remembrance. So this is pretty cool. Read through it. It's got 2001 row. So obviously in the rower, if we have more than 11 in the class, just stagger start, no big deal. It should take you quite a while to get through this row. If you consider a 500-meter row is about 2 minutes, so that's 4, and then that's going to be 8 just on the row. So maybe like 10 minutes just on the row. So on the row right itself, since it's ending and starting with it, that's 20 minutes just for rowing. Now, there's sets of 11 in here, but it's a fast change. what I would recommend is once you get off the rower, do the 11 and breathe as you get to the thrusters, breathe as you go to the pull-ups, and don't like stop to take a long rest. Just do your breathing as you move from element to element, okay? So have fun with that, and remember 9/11 and all the craziness and sadness, and throw your heart into that one. Okay, next one. We like max efforts, and we like to be able to have these metrics or these numbers we can compare to. We haven't done this one in a while, so this is good to throw out here. We have a max effort 1 mile run. You need to warm up significantly for this so that you don't pull something. Also, probably the easiest way to do it is to go around the gym. So that way you're making bigger circles and your turns not as tight, though there's cars and that could be dangerous. So for safety, maybe making a tighter loop around the back that Josh has marked out would be safer. So be smart about that. Lots of warm up and lots of stretching. If you're got a stopwatch or you're able to see a clock, or if the coach is calling out times as you run by, try to capture your 400-meter split. So that first one should be your fastest, and then slap it in here. Or take your number, divide by, and say, well, at least there's an average. May not be my max effort, but it'll let you put a number in for this so you have something to compare against when we do have a 400-meter sprint. So everyone can do today's workout RX because it's just run. So it's good to have that number and know what it is. Some of you guys are going to be able to do it in 5 minutes. That would be an insanely awesome run. I'd say for the vast majority of us, it's going to be between 8 and 15 minutes just because we're all in a different place when it comes to running. All right, so when you're done with that, I'm going to add something in here as extra credit. So let me pause and say this. I'll link this article, so Volume Over Intensity by Invictus. It's a great read-through. It tells you why intensity works and what it's doing for you inside your body and CrossFit. And I have an article I'm putting together too for that. But simply to say, I would use this as my intensity. I probably won't do anything else. Actually, with my knee, I don't even know if I can do this. I might have to row it instead of run it because I don't think I can run and have my knee with my torn meniscus not go nutso. So then there's Karen, which is 150 wall balls for time. This is a great, another hurricane or named workout that is, at first glance, you're like, yeah, it's 150 wall balls. What's up with that? It is not easy. So if you decide to do the extra credit, you're going to have a lot more volume on you. Your intensity is going to drop down in this, but at least you'll throw a number in there and you can do it. I would not recommend doing that because, again, read this article and it tells you why. But some of you guys are like, hey, I want to do some extra. The mile run's pretty easy to get through, and after a little bit, you should feel rested enough with more class. You can throw in the extra credit, and wall balls aren't hard to do. So when you do the wall balls, make sure you do proper depth. If you're not using proper depth, then what's the point, right? So it's a full squat where your hip crease is below your knees to an extension where you throw the ball up. All right, next one. Overhead squats. So CrossFit main site loves doing the a day of lifting. It's not always like that, but you'll see a lot of this come up. So we're still focused on lifts. It's just not lift and Metcon. I've added back in an extra credit. So overhead squat is a beast, and most of us are going to get done with this kind of fast because it is so hard to do to try to control your core and your shoulders. So this is going to be a lot of hard work. I like what Louis says. Sometimes his depth is tough to get to because of his tight hips. So you may have ankle mobility or hip issue mobilities, and a lot of it could come from just having a tight hip. So spend some time mobilizing your hips, get some bands, do some lifts, get your hips activated. Between these lifts, you should take some time. So it shouldn't be back to back. It should be, I did some and I rested, I do some stretching and so forth. You can do all 5 at the same weight, or you can move up until you get to the place of failure. A perfect one would be on this last set, you failed on the last rep because you've pushed yourself to the total number, right? So that would be awesome to fail at that last bit. I also put down here a snatch number because you're going to have to lift this number or get this bar up and over your head. If you don't, put it on your back and then jerk it up, you'll probably end up snatching it. So there's a snatch number you can put in there. Maybe I'll put well, I guess you shouldn't probably clean it because you can add your own reference if you clean it. So it should go snatching up and then overhead squatting, although probably the majority of us, we can overhead squat a whole lot more than we can snatch just because our form in this Olympic lift is kind of off. So then extra credit. Again, I probably wouldn't do this because I'm going to focus on this. I don't like to do extra. I like to put all my intensity in the movement I'm doing. But a 500-meter row doesn't take much effort in terms of coaching through how to, because everyone knows how to row. And it's fun to have that number in there. Realize you'll be a little bit tired, but when this comes up as this is what we're doing, you'll have a number to shoot against, okay? So at least you get your number and you can put it in there. Next, we've got an AMRAP with power cleans and toes to bar. You can do RX Plus for heavier weight. Obviously, modify this stuff. It's not the power cleans at this weight and the toes to bar that we're really looking for. Yes, we want to get you to this ability, and your hands, like mine, may be jacked, so toes to bars may be out of the question. So alternate it or move it around. Like right here, instead of toes to bar, you could do GHD sit-ups, although there's a second bit that has them. So maybe you just do regular sit-ups, or maybe you do toes to rig where you're holding onto the rig. So be smart about what you're doing. Push yourself. Learn something new. But not every day is race day. But then again, not every day is let me learn some new skill day. Some days you're going to have to be like, let me hit this hard. So if you went for, I don't know, let's see, where's my overhead squat? There it is. So if you went for this, well, I can't lift too much because I don't know what I'm doing and it's really tough, then don't make this a skill day. Make this a go all out day, right? Of course it is the 5th day in, so you'll probably be pretty tired. But anyway, so you can look through the crossfit.com. We don't follow it exactly because of the 9/11, but also I'll link in this cool article from Invictus. All right, guys, y'all have a blast. Take care.